With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
You're listening to Make It, the indie film podcast. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Make It podcast. I'm your host, Chris Barkley.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Buggs.
And
good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you as well. And today with us is the Emmy Award-winning director, Fr3der1ck Taylor, our esteemed guest. Frederick, say hello.
My pleasure, guys.
Well, the pleasure is all ours, and you're back.
I know. Thrilled to be back, actually, too. This is an exciting platform that continues to grow for you guys, which is wonderful.
You've been a big part of it. You've been a big part of it.
I appreciate it. I'm very proud of it. I brag about you guys all the time and encourage people to look at the videos, and people seem to really like them. And they love them in the Instagram world, too, of like reels and clips and thoughts and ideas and stuff like that, too, which I think
that's awesome, man.
Shout out to the team.
Well, I was going to say, when we started the conversation and Chris said, you're back, of course, Chris, I thought you were saying something else. I was like, did he just say you're black?
I know. He's so insensitive.
You're right. Like, what are you doing, bro? Because I will say that, that is probably something that, I don't know, all three of us have probably gotten at some point in time. Someone has heard us speak and then we walk into the room and it's like the Joe Pesci from Lethal Weapon. You blick.
Yeah, I think that's a fascinating.
Was that your Joe Pesci?
That was the South African sitting across from Joe Pesci who was looking.
Okay. I was going to say, oh my God.
And then Joe Pesci said it later. He's like, "You're black."
Well,
classic,
the thing is, had I said that, Nick, it wouldn't have been a lie.
Yeah, it's true.
Fr3der1ck is indeed black.
Yes.
Welcome to blackness.
And then it
Welcome your
weird.
blackness to our
I'm
platform.
proud to actually be black, enjoy being black, wouldn't want to be anything else. If I have the option to be reincarnated and come back, I will check the black box once again.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Hey, I was actually asked to fill out a form recently, and it asked for my ethnicity, and I checked white. And the guy who was like looking at my form said, "Okay," and he kept going. I was like, "No, bro." I'm just kidding.
The forms is a really good point because you do get confronted with that at some point in your life where you have to kind of make a choice. If you're me, I'm biracial, and I had to think, okay, for most of my life I checked the black box, and then I started to realize, biracial people, there's so many of us in America. Yeah, and we've begun to dominate all areas of life. I thought we should create our own race, no longer biracial, definitely not mulatto. That's a up word. But we should be our own race and have our own culture, right? Like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes can be like the Secretary of State of the biracials.
We're going to have a real conversation.
We can bring Drake in.
Dominate in the paint. Who?
What?
Name one.
Name one biracial. Charles Barkley.
Barkley?
No, he's not biracial. Blake Griffin.
Okay, you get one.
Yeah. And he can jump. He's like one of the biggest leapers of all time. I'm just saying, like, biracial people are on the run.
I think it's legit.
And I realized this during the last Olympics. Like, damn, every event a biracial person won. What is God trying to tell us? You see what I'm saying? I'm not even religious like that, but I'm like, what is God trying to tell us? Oh shit! So lately, I've been checking other. I've been checking other.
Booker T. Washington was biracial. Frederick Douglass was biracial.
It's been known for. See, that's why we have Frederick on, because he gets it. Like, he knows the history. I don't have to pull teeth to get people to acknowledge the biracials.
Right. I see. And then you have to get into, like, what kind of biracial. Like, I am mostly African, obviously. But the other parts are Germanic and Irish, Scotch-Irish.
Hello, brother.
Yeah. You're just like me.
I'm also Germanic.
Yeah, see.
And Irish.
Okay, so you're just a different degree of it, gradation of it.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's just different. We talked about this at Soho House. We were like,
yes, and no one came over to our table either.
That's not true. that was good. But shout out to those guys at Soho House. They've been great. But we were talking about we probably are families somewhere down the line eventually.
Yeah,
that's absolutely. Probably true. And I know me and Nick are probably family, or I know some of his family. Like my neighbor over here next to me, her last name is Bug. Nick is Bugs. Somewhere along the line, from master to master, they lost the S. That's all.
Wait, what?
I love it when he does this. This is like awesome.
I think not.
He goes down this.
So you're telling me the Bugs and the Bug family just completely different lines of Negroes?
We just grew to be more plentiful, which is why we have the plurality in our name.
Yeah.
There you go. He used plentiful in a sentence.
Nick will wow you with that shit if you're not careful. He's a wordsmith, and his mother was an English teacher, so he's beaten into it to him probably
French
like with a
Spanish,
French and languages teacher. Sorry, languages teacher. But do you know? Okay, he had to learn it. So kudos to you, Nick. It worked out. We should know more about you, though, Frederick. And so I want to introduce a new segment called Story is King. And this is where we learn the story of Frederick Taylor, the Emmy award-winning director. And we'll do this in 6 parts. Part 1, where were you born?
Ooh. The south side of Chicago, in a Michael Reese Hospital, which is right there at like 31st and Martin Luther King. Ooh. Right off the Lakeshore Drive exit. Right. Look at that. Nick's like,
been there.
Yeah, dangerous area. That's all I gotta say.
And it's there.
It was a dangerous area.
Right. So I've got a great story really quickly. So it was like, I'm doing a music video. It's like Snoop, Dre's there, Exhibit's there. Nate Dogg was still alive at the
Exhibit. Very underrated.
Yeah, very underrated. But I think he made some bad career choices and got off, got off track. But they were all debating where I was from. I was the DP and the director, and they were listening to me talk. To get back to the other thing we said about talk, and they were convinced I was not American. They were convinced I was European. And then they were like, finally, they were like, say, man, where you born?
Yeah. Where you from?
And I said the south side of Chicago, 35th, Martin Luther King, Bronzeville.
Yep, that's right.
And they were shocked. I mean, they could not wrap their minds around it. They were like, there's no way you could come off that block and be this guy right now.
Well, that's one thing the three of us definitely have in common is just that we exist outside of certain societal expectations.
Right.
And then we have to talk about that in a way that helps people understand without trying to be inauthentic ourselves. I mean, it's kind of challenging.
Yeah. And they reject a lot. I mean, they don't want to walk the path. They don't want to deal with it. They just want you to be convenient for them. And then when the convenience is over, it's not there, or there's some level of critique or criticism you might give back to them. They're like, oh no, you're not legitimate enough to critique anything that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I just like having you around like a Fr3der bag because you're interesting.
Or you provide a service. Yeah.
Thank you.
Almost like a Fr3der bag.
Yeah. Not so much anymore. That part of the store is closed.
You're right. Like, nope. I'm not doing that anymore.
I am not a service industry anymore.
Very good.
Which is a bad habit you get into when you're younger.
I'm still open for business, guys.
That's nice.
I'm still open for business.
That's really nice. There's a party bus going around Nashville now. We can just...
You got to pedal, though.
Nick, we could sell him. We could stand there on the corner. Ladies, $100 and
sell me.
I've gone to a party bus with you for 1 hour.
That's right, 1 hour.
They do it.
That's it.
Nick, we clean up, man.
Nah, we would.
Yeah. Desperate times, desperate measures. Frederick, describe your household in 3 words. Growing up.
Chaotic and intellectual.
That's 2 words.
It is.
The third one was "and." He said 3 words.
3 words. It was.
I don't think he said "and." I didn't hear.
He did say "and." I heard it. Chaotic and intellectual.
I heard chaotic, intellectual. That's what I heard.
Interstellar.
Interstellar.
One word. Yeah,
I'm going to write that down, actually.
Yeah, Interstellar, a vast universe of you only understand one small part of this universe, and there's so much else in that universe that you just absolutely positively don't understand. And so I would say Interstellar. Both my parents came from extraordinary backgrounds, and there was a certain amount of information they shared and a certain amount of information they did not, based on what information was shared or not shared with them. As well, my favorite word there. And that made it problematic at times. And then as we continue to move up the social ladder, you're bringing all of these other questions, into play with society and culture and things like that. And there are certain things they would answer in certain ways. For instance, the discussion about being in school, they're not teaching enough Black history, or they're teaching things about Black history that are incorrect or whatever. And I would be troubled by that. And I would come home and say, I just don't like the class. They get it all wrong. And my mother would say, well, you just get in there, do what they say, get the A. Yeah. So they were very goal-oriented, system goal-oriented, where it was just like they want that paper. Mm-hmm. They want that. They want those grades. They want, and somehow that was their ticket to freedom. Mm-hmm. And that was where we kind of had a systemic or intellectual break, as far as me negotiating with my parents about how I wanted to conduct myself. Yeah. At certain points in times, I had certain belief systems that were in place that was like, I'll take the 0. Because I felt some kind of way about something. I didn't measure everything about who I was through the system.
Yeah.
And for them, I get it. I mean, that was their big opportunity to move up and move forward. And that was a different time. They went to school in the 60s and 70s, and that was a different way of being and thinking as far as what we thought we needed to do to get ahead. And now we live in a society where we're being deliberately smacked back and told that whatever, validity that we have, they're going to let us know which parts of us are valid and which parts of us are invalid or nebulous or don't really necessarily matter. So it's not about how smart you are. It's about how much you've been commoditized. Those are the people that are going to the front of the bus now. Because they make money,
Yeah.
And that's a completely different standard versus your individual, your individual sensibility or your autonomy is no longer a valued asset in the day-to-day discourse that is living in America as a person of color. Very few people care about that anymore. It's like, what can you do for me? What am I getting out of it?
I was a bad student.
Which trouble?
No two ways around it. But
but look at you now. But this is the point.
But
you're
I was
not
never
a bad dude. And I think you can attest to this. That you're a brilliant man. The system's flawed, not you, because you're smart. Look at what you're doing now.
No
got good grades growing up and bleep now.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like by the grades, I was a really bad student, but by the thoughts and the sharing and the part of the class where there was discourse, I was a great student, and every teacher I had mostly knew that. I kind of vividly remember actually getting a lot of runway for as absentee and disruptive I was to their normal process, getting more runway simply because I had, I guess, what you would call potential. But you do run into the reality of, hey, you need to get into college, and college says, what are these numbers?
Right.
And if those numbers don't add up, and those grade points don't add, you don't get into college, and you get stopped in life to a degree, or your opportunities become more narrow. I'll put it that way. And so for me to get into college, I had to on the spot write a paper to the administrative office as to why I should be in college. And that's what got me in, because my grade point average was not good enough to get in any school in America.
Yeah, but there are other people like the current president of the United States who did not get good grades, and still got.
Is that true?
Promoted. He was not. He's famous.
I thought he went to Penn. I thought he went to like great colleges.
That's not what he's said.
He probably wasn't. Yeah, he probably. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but guys, Frederick, the thing is, so my parents were very similar, but there's a balance, right? Because you can't be all chaos and anarchy. Like that's not safe for you. It's not safe for the people around you. But you can't be just another cog in the wheel either, because then you don't have any autonomy, you don't have any will, you don't have any spirit, there's nothing unique about you, right? So those are kind of the two different ends of the spectrum, and I think the goal is try to find the middle ground. And I think that for our parents, I think they came from a time where safety and security was the most important thing. So straighten up and fly right, because that's what we know will keep you safe. We want to keep you safe. Like that's the first and most important thing. As times change and our parents get to see our new world, like my parents, they're beginning to see that, hey, I could have been a saxophonist. Like that could have been my job. I asked my parents about that. I was like, you never really, like they let me play, right? And I was good, but they never promoted that side of me. Why not? My mom just said it. She said, Nicholas, we didn't know. Like we didn't know that that's a thing that you could be and be successful and be happy and be safe, right? You had to get the A's and you had to get the papers and you had to get the job that seemed to fit safe. So we tend to sometimes fight against that and rail against that because we're like, you're stupid. Like, what are you talking about? Like the system is here to corrupt us. It's here to break us. And we fight that when all they're really trying to do is keep us safe. So I think for me, it's just trying to find the balance in all that. Because I agree with you. I want to be me, man. I don't always want to be what they're trying to make me or, whatever lane they're trying to put me in. But I understand, hey, if I'm in this lane, sometimes I need to stay in my lane. I put my blinker on, you know what I'm saying, to get out of my lane to get in another one, because I want to stay safe. But I get it. I'm totally with you, man.
Thank you for sharing that, Nick. I've never heard you really lay it out like that before. And it might be one key delineation between us in a world where me and you are similar on almost everything. Having parents like mine, entrepreneurs, one of them was white. And I'm not saying race is everything or anything. I'm just saying that was the situation where it's different from you, Nick. Sure. And I didn't have the safety question. That just didn't come up as often for me. So we took more risks as a family. It's interesting. Frederick, what was the moment you knew you wanted to pursue a creative life? Was there a moment? Maybe that's the better way to put it.
Absolutely. There's a moment, and there's two ways of looking at that moment. There's the moment that you think is the moment, and then there's the moment that actually was the moment, and you don't really understand what's actually the moment until you have matured and grown as a person, and you look back on your life. Because when you know, life chooses you for something, you're not necessarily always aware of the moment. It is happening around you. There are just sort of circumstances and forces at work that are pulling you in a certain direction based on your talents and your gifts and your opportunities. So for me, you know, when it really happened was when I was still in grade school. I had a very strong vocabulary. I loved to write. I loved to draw. I loved to paint. I loved music. I loved culture. I loved people. I was very gregarious and interactive with people. And so that's when it really started. That's when I really fell in love. I remember I used to draw comic books.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, me too.
The only thing that I'm mad at my mother about, she threw out my comic books that I drew. I used to make these very meticulous comic books and draw these action figures, superheroes. And initially I was drawing the superheroes that were common of the day, you know, Superman, Batman, blah, blah, blah. And then I started to move over into discovering black superheroes. And so one of the ones I used to draw was Falcon.
Okay. Yep.
And then I slowly started making up my own black superheroes as well. So those comic books were a big part of my identity pre high school, from grade school to middle school to getting ready to start high school. You know, and so I perceived myself as, I found my way into creativity, you know, in college. Was my great awakening or whatever. But once I became a filmmaker and started going down that path, and then you get to these points and times in your life where the reflection starts.
Yeah.
And then once I started to reflect upon my life, I was like, no, it wasn't college. It was like third grade.
It's like a series of events, not a single.
Yeah, and you're just not aware of it. And so it took me some time to figure that out. But, you know, I've been this way and wanted to have been this way for a very long time. My grandmother could articulate that about me the best, because she had the best perspective on me. Right. And she didn't have to come with the discipline in the same way that my parents did. They had to regulate me in order to, once again, keep me safe. Mm-hmm. My grandmother didn't have to worry so much about me being safe. My grandmother could focus a little bit more on my development and what I wanted and what my passions were. My grandmother was the one that would say, sit me down and tell me more about this hip hop you're listening to. And she would listen. You know what I mean? She'd be right there vibing with me, listening to what I want to listen to, versus my parents would be saying, like, turn that down, you know, and my grandmother would be like, tell me about it, you know, and that's why, like, when you have families that have a lot of people in them to help influence the kids, I think that there's a strength in that. I couldn't be the person that I am without my grandmother and my parents, but they all assumed different responsibilities.
Yeah, it takes a village.
You know, Damon Wayans had an awesome quote recently on the podcast. He said, "I'm gonna get him exactly right.
Not our podcast.
You'll get the clear. Right. You'll get the essence."
Not yet,
he said, being a grandparent teaches you how you should have raised your kids."
Sure. That's great.
It's phenomenal.
And
that's really great. That's
everything that Frederick just said aligns with that thought, which is don't fight against it, learn about it, right? Like, why were you fighting so hard against hip hop? Learn about it. Why are your kids so interested in these things, right?
Right.
But we have a tendency, again, from the safety factor, from keeping them controlled, you know, keeping them within our boundaries, keeping them within arm's reach, that we want to just drag them back. But the grandparents are like, you know, we don't have to do that anymore, baby. You know, tell me about your drawings. Tell me about your comic books, boy. Like what's going on? So I think it's a cool statement from Damon Wayans.
I think in a former life, Frederick brought up reincarnation earlier. I think maybe even before the show started. And I think you were a grandma, Nick, in a former life. You can do a grandma voice. You're very good at grandma wisdom. You have that thing. You've always had that. Like, I've known you for almost 25 years now, I think.
Yeah, man.
Or longer. And you are grandma-like. And I mean that in the sweetest way possible. Like, I mean that like in the
I'm gonna go bake me some cookies,
the most awesome way. Like you that is a differentiator for you. You have that grandma thing going on.
Okay.
Where you can make somebody feel warm and safe and still try to figure out what they're into. I like that. And you can do a grandma voice. Of course, it's a Jewish grandma, but you can do a grandma voice well. Frederick, speaking of college, where'd you go to college?
Temple University in Philadelphia.
Fantastic. Same. Is that where Bill Cosby went in the Cosby Show, Nick?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And also,
that's where he went.
Because Nick knows Cosby better than anybody I know.
Yeah, that's where he went, but that's not where he went in the Cosby Show.
Oh, that is actually where he went. In the Cosby Show, he went to where?
Hillman.
Got it. Yeah. So much stuff happening in that show if you look at it retrospectively. And we haven't even got to mention on the podcast, but I've been posting about it all week on our social, Nick, just like Malcolm Jamal Warner's death. Like, I'm still a little heartbroken. Not a little, I'm just heartbroken by it because he's just doing the dad thing out there.
It's a piece of our history, and Cosby's complex the same way, Elvis Presley is complex,
right.
Right. And there have been, Cosby's no different than a lot of other people throughout space and time in history, especially in American history and especially in American popular culture history, there's stuff about him you love and it's genius, and there's other stuff about him where you're like, man, this guy should be locked up. Like, that's the game. And I'm not minimizing anything that any of these individuals have done, but this is the biz. This is and for certain people, sometimes they just go in certain directions, but they're still pushing the standard of the industry that they're in. And, Bill Cosby changed a lot for a lot of people in a lot of ways, and
me and Nick talked about this for 20 minutes in the last episode, Frederick. Like, and then I had to parse it. Like, look, I'm not saying that
all why I went to Temple
are
like
really
he's a hero. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
It's just
Bill
like,
Cosby,
I'm not, I'm with you, man. Like, we're not, I think Nick's with me too. Like, we're not like forgiving anything, including Elvis. It's just that, the point I was making to Nick, and I think, I can't remember, Nick, if you ended up agreeing with me or not. When Jerry Lee Lewis or Elvis does a thing, the consequence of it is not the same as if Michael Jackson, Diddy, R. Kelly, Cosby do a thing.
Prince.
Right. Or like, you hear about this stuff and then you're like, well, how can you even like them? People are like, well, what? You got to throw everything about them away. I'm like, well, you didn't do that with Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis or anybody else. Like, it seems like if a black guy gets in trouble, he gets a RICO case, even if he's by himself.
Yeah, I know. They tried to pin a RICO case on Mr. Sean John. I was like, RICO? What? That's the kind of thing you pin on John Gotti. That's different.
Right,
yeah.
Rico better be a dude you paid to come to the freak off, not.
But these are the things. To Nick's point earlier, these are the things that our parental guidance is trying to protect us from.
Yeah.
Catching a case is in the top 5 of things they don't want to happen to you, to get sucked up in the system.
Well, there you go. But that's it. But that's the system that you're talking about, because you mentioned it earlier, Frederick, when you were like, that's the industry. Because I used to talk about this all the time. Anytime you hear about like a celebrity, they cheated on their wife. My wife used to get all up in arms. I can't believe he did that. I was like, what do you mean you can't believe he did that? Do you realize that this guy's flying in Lear jets to different countries? They probably have the women on the plane. Like they're there, like he can't avoid it. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yes, we're going to have this woman sit on your lap for the rest of the trip. You know, just don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything, sir. I'm like, come on. When it's thrown at you like that often, that much, and it becomes the expectation. You know, it's
brought
like,
a woman to sit on your lap for the trip, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Free of charge.
But it's like being in a gang, and they're like, you know, if you don't smoke weed, then you're not one of us. Right, we can't trust you.
Or if you don't get jumped in or knock out some dude that's unsuspecting on the corner or whatever.
Right, exactly. So what I'm saying is that there's certain things that you're part of a club, and you got to be initiated into the club for people who are in the club to trust you. So it's a whole other world. So you're right, Fred. That's what they were trying to protect us from. They saw that stuff with their celebrities before us, and they're like, that art world. Right, that's scary and dangerous and all these things. And they're trying to protect us from that, not realizing that we could actually be our own people. Yep. Like we could have our own level of judgment, and maybe they imparted enough on us that we could protect ourselves.
Exactly. And our ability to navigate conflict, too. I think that's one of the things that they would forget. And this is where I'm going to kind of kick around our previous generation a little bit. They didn't like to let us speak for ourselves. When we would get into a situation or whatever, go sit down, go to the car, don't say nothing. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna handle this, whatever. Like they were always, and they still are. I mean, I love my parents, but like there are moments where I'm gonna give you a perfect example. We were sitting at a table. We were out for my dad's birthday. I ordered a steak. I asked for the steak to be medium. They brought me well done. I don't like well done steaks. I like medium steaks. And if I'm going to eat a steak, I want it to be the way I want it to be. And my mom was just having a cow because I called over the waitress and I said, this is not what I ordered. You know, and I was very polite. I was negotiating it, but I was being very specific and very direct too, because I wanted this taken back to the kitchen and I wanted it prepared the way that I want to have it prepared, because it's a $40 steak.
Right.
Yeah.
I want it the way I want it. And my mom was just like, I don't understand why you just couldn't have not said anything and just eaten it on your own or whatever. Just eating. I'm not doing that. This is not 1935. I'm not doing that. We're paying to be here. It's Dad's birthday, and I'm going to enjoy myself in the way that I want to enjoy myself. So she gets real nervous sometimes when I'm talking to people, when I want customer service, or I need something, or I want something, or even like a conflict, like a parking spot in a parking lot. You know, I'm the guy that I will say something. I'll be like, you know, hey, we were getting ready to come in there, you know, like, do you, but you let them know. Like my mom say, oh, don't do that. But when it comes to me and she's in a situation where she wants to be the advocate, then she wants to step up and say something and still be that same presence, which was very effective for me as a child when I needed things. But sometimes they have a difficult time letting go and letting you assume that leadership role. They want to keep it all the time. And where it comes up a lot of times too is when people start passing away. You know, because there's a generation above my parents that's in like their 90s and looking at 100. And some of them are starting to die. So when they die, you know, I have something to say about it because I'm like, I've known them forever since I got here. I'm interested in being a part of the conversation of how we're going to handle the funeral. The guy gets shut down.
Yeah.
You know, my 80-year-old parent is like, oh, no, you're not ready to, I will handle this. And I'm like, no, I would like to discuss whether we're going to cremate the body or we're going to have a, you know, I want to be in that conversation. You know, I prefer closed casket. That's me. But I get dragged because they want to open the casket. And I think that that's morbid. And I think that that's weirdly old school.
Yeah, that's just the way they do things, man. It's old school, but it's their way. It's their way. Every funeral I've ever been to is open casket.
Oh, I can't handle it.
2.5 hours or 3 hours long as well. I was at a funeral for my friend Ashley Heath's mother recently. Shout out to you, Ashley. Love you. This was like last year, and classic Black funeral. And one lady got up to sing. I can't remember what she sang. It was a church song, Frederick. and it was
the most wishy-washy black man thing I've heard in a long time.
Because I don't know all the hymns, bro.
That's hard.
That's the Germanic part of me speaking.
That was the Germanic part.
But
I do not remember the song.
But she sang it okay. She sang it pretty good. She was a pretty good singer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the craziest thing happened. The next lady came and sang. She sang. Oh my God, she was like Tasha Cobbs Leonard. She sang her ass off, and I thought, man, what a terrible thing to happen at this black funeral, for this other lady's song just to get washed away by the performance of this other lady who was making people cry and get goosebumps at this funeral. I was like, oh my God. See, this is why, the black funeral can be tricky, because it's 3 hours long. Everybody's going to say something. You're going to be there a long time. There's going to be a lot of people singing, and you're just trying to respect the corpse that's laying in the open casket that Nick's talking about. And now you just look disrespectful in comparison. I just thought, I feel so bad for this lady because she came up right after her and sang the roof off. And it's like, why didn't you just sit down and let her sing everything going forward? Whereas at a white funeral, one guy comes up, says some words, and they are gone. They're out of there.
Yeah, but they're passionless. They just whisper to them. They almost sound apologetic. Tell the whole story, Chris.
Yeah, I want a black funeral because I'm a narcissist. So I'm just kidding.
He's like 3 hours. That's the intro.
Yeah, that's just the intro to my life. No,
you got off.
I'm kidding, but we all are at the age where we should probably think about how we want that to go, just in case. I maybe should put some more thoughts in.
Tell them nothing. Let them figure it out.
yeah. We won't really know, right? Like, but we can try to plan. Imagine that, just trying to have control from the grave. Like, I'm gonna control how this goes, and it won't add up.
Funny, black, dark comedy.
Ooh, okay. We got a little show idea I'm going to write down. I'm going to combine 5 and 6 and end this segment, Frederick. What do we know you for? The we being the proverbial global audience watching us right now. And then what are you working on now? What are you excited about? What's being distributed? What's going on? Drop all your works on us, past and present.
Weirdly, what I'm known for, there is a song called The Dip. I put my hands upon my hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip.
You dip, we dip.
I made that music video, and that music video ended up on MTV, got the crap played out of it, and it's what launched my career, basically. And it made that song a hit. Before that, it was just a song that they were playing in strip clubs in Atlanta, and it just kind of hit in the clubs. And then one of the local DJs heard it in the club, and then they put it on the radio, and it started to climb the charts. And it was climbing the charts, but didn't have a video. And so MTV was like, we want a video, but we don't really want a real booty video. We want something that's, clever, MTV-ish. And so I made a clever MTV-ish music video of The Dip. And it turned into a sort of pop cultural phenomenon that continues to exist to this day, and it just keeps resurfacing. Yeah. The song is currently in a Popeyes commercial with kids doing the dip. And we actually
in the sauce and shit.
It's right? Crazy. But we actually invented the dance for the dip. Like, we designed the dance for the dip, and then we had it captured with a hologram, and we had this little hologram man in the video, if you remember the video or not, dancing and doing the dip as well. And we made it all futuristic. It was just like, this song is in the future.
Yeah.
And it did really well. We lost the MTV Music Video Award to the Spice Girls, Tell You What I Want, What I Really, Really Want. Block Rockin' Beats was in that category, and then Breathe by Prodigy and us, and we lost. And that was the beginning of my. That was the beginning of my. Yeah. So that was one of the things. The other thing is, I've won an Emmy for a documentary that's a part of a PBS series called If Cities Could Dance. It's about J setting. It's all about urban street dancing, which is a combination of basically, HBCU step show and HBCU majorette marching, Alvin Ailey, breakdance elements, and then traditional street dancing elements all combined into one. You see a lot of this dancing when you watch a lot of modern music videos, specifically Beyonce music videos. So again, an example of being a part of the zeitgeist of the times and, where people are and what people are doing too. And then have had other various things that live in perpetuity. You can go on Amazon.com and watch a documentary that I did called Counter History's Rock Hill, which is about a counter sit-in 1961 in Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is all about peaceful protest, which is still germane to the conversation today as well. And then I do various other things. I run a production company that's an award-winning production company. I win all kinds of stuff and awards, and I've just recently written a screenplay that has won several awards and might be put on as a stage play in Philadelphia coming up.
Okay.
And it's called Please Kill Robinson Scott Thomas. Thank you. And it's about two black hitmen that kidnap a black GOP candidate, like Clarence Thomas or someone like that, and they are going to hold him hostage at gunpoint in a hotel room and force him to change his political standing and musings. They're going to use him as a ringer in order to create chaos in the conservative party. Or he doesn't do it, they'll kill him.
Please kill
Robinson Scott Thomas.
Or Robinson Scott Thomas, sorry. Please kill Robinson Scott Thomas. That's a great title. I love it.
Right. And Robinson Scott Thomas is our Clarence Thomas type. And it's kind of mixing Clarence Thomas and Tim Scott together.
Okay.
That's the character.
Okay, I got you. And then the production company, Tomorrow Pictures, right?
Yes, sir. Tomorrow Pictures at tomorrowpictures.com. As well. And you can go to my site, which is that Fr3der1ck thing you see down there at the bottom, .com, and you'll get my personal creative site. Or if you just Google that, you'll get everything that is me on the internet. I'm the number one Fr3der1ck on the internet.
And just for those that are listening only, Frederick doesn't, spells his name with a 3 where the E goes and a 1 where the I is. And so it's a unique spelling. It's very clever. It allows him to be incredibly searchable and for you to get the right things on the search. Speaking about the zeitgeist, Nick, you had some zeitgeisty things on your mind. And what's funny about this, because I just thought, I'd bring this up because you were talking to me about this earlier today, about having, first of all, kudos on your vacation. I'm glad you got some time off. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you spent some weeks away out of the USA and seeing a part of the world you've never seen before and seeing how either, both alike and different we are at the same time. And I assume it was on this trip that you got the opportunity to finally see Sing Sing, which was one of the award nominees from 2024 that on this podcast I raved about quite a bit, and I was surprised.
It's the best film of 2024. You can say it. Just say it.
Well, I said that many times on this podcast.
Crushed everything.
But Nick has a unique take on this film. So drop it on me, because I have some questions that I hope you'll answer within your sort of summary of your viewing of this. And I guess the main question is, where and who did you watch it with? Because I think those are both important factors. But go ahead. Nick.
I watched it on the plane, and I watched it by myself. Okay. So, but here's the thing: I had high expectations for it from the kudos that I'd heard about the film, and you hear Frederick saying like best film, and I finished watching it, and I was not impressed. I was not impressed with the film as a whole.
Frederick.
Wait. I was not impressed with the film as a whole. But I think the thing that really got me with this is I was not impressed with Coleman Domingo's performance.
Really?
It was he who was receiving most of the accolades for this film. And I feel as though, and I'd invite you both to watch it again, and because we all watch movies at different times with in a different emotional state, right? There's different feelings that surround every film we watch. And watch it again. because I feel like everyone else outacted him. I felt like everyone else's performance dwarfed his performance. He was a common thread throughout the film, but he wasn't why I would watch that film. I think that was also why I was disappointed. If I had gone into it hearing no hype around him and heard the hype around the actors who were previously imprisoned, then I might have had a different perspective, because I think they did a great job. Like, even the character, which I thought was a former inmate, Mike, he's not a former inmate, actually. He's actually, created a film studio, like all this stuff. He had an acting studio and has done amazing things, program director, all these things. But I was like, they're the stars of this film. Like, why are we celebrating Coleman Domingo so much for this? So here's the other part of it. I understand the importance, the cultural zeitgeist, the importance of the film. We get to see people of color in an environment that we would not normally see, in a situation we wouldn't normally see. Okay, so I'll say the environment. Yeah, we might see, colored folks in prisons, right? We see that, gangs, that kind of thing. But this isn't the experience that we're watching. We're watching not the fighting in prison, not all this stuff that we would normally see. We're seeing art. We're seeing creativity. We're seeing something totally different that we need to see. This is important. This is an important type of film for my children to see. Like, I get all that. But at the same time, it was just Coleman Domingo, I think, being the center and the core of the film for me. I was so underwhelmed by his performance that it just hurt the overall film for me. Now, if I go back and watch it now, again, knowing the great performances of the other folks, like, I'm excited to see what else they've done. Right. They were great.
Right.
So anyway, that was my perspective on the film. And I know it's totally divergent from the conversation around the film. Right. So my thing, when I feel like this, Frederick, my thing is, am I missing something? Like, I'm okay to admit that, and maybe I'll watch it again.
You are?
With a different mindset.
No, I'm just kidding.
But that's why I want to talk about it. Like, right. I don't want to come out here and bash the movie. I'm like, did I miss something? Did I?
Frederick, thoughts, concerns?
Yeah, I mean, I think this type of conversation, this type of conversation is the spine of this program that you guys have been building and setting up, where we get to talk in a very deep, meaningful, three-dimensional and sometimes even four-dimensional perspective and vantage point on things. This is one of those classic examples where everybody in this chat is right. And that's what makes this particular film so exciting, because we rarely have films like this that are made by people of color, about people of color. This is on the same level of like The Learning Tree or, A Raisin in the Sun. I mean, for years I was always like, I don't get it. Korean baths. Yeah. And it takes some time and nurturing. And so I think with Domingo's performance, it's addition by subtraction. I think there are a lot of other elements that are swirling around the film. And I think this is me speaking for him, but I think in a lot of ways he made sort of this acting choice that I'm going to back it up rather than blow it up and try to really be the center of attention and galvanize all of the energy. He let a lot of other people into the moment, which I think was a great and wise choice as far as the longevity of the film. The film will live forever. This film is going to be a timepiece. And one of the other things, divorced of all of that stuff, when we just get into the technical aspects of the film, it's brilliant because it's made on a shoestring budget. It's all shot basically in one big location, and you never feel like you need more or want more, and you never feel claustrophobic, and you just constantly feel like it has these breaths in it as well, which I think is astonishing. And it's a clinic on how you can make a great film with not a lot of money. And I wish more people, in particular people of color, made more films like this. I don't think, this is me talking, I don't think that we as a people right now are really suited to trying to focus on making big budget films. I think that we do really well with our stories when our stories are small and they're just great ideas and they're on reasonable budgets, and then they get in there and they do well, they show well, and they make a lot of money. Like Get Out. Get Out was made for $3.5 million, and it grows $257 million domestically. So it made money, made a ton of money. And
you can say shit ton.
I've been trying to be good. But I think the same thing can be said for a lot of other films. Moonlight is another example of a very small film, not a lot of locations, not crazy budget, but a really meaningful film that had some poignant points to make. I agree with you about his performance. I was waiting for it to explode. And it doesn't. He just keeps it down, and carries it through that way. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a performance that years from now we'll look back at this and we'll go, okay, that's not too bad. It's okay. I like it. I'm enjoying it.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't bad. It was underwhelming.
It was underwhelming. And I think sometimes the answer is underwhelming. Brando in Last Tango in Paris, I think is underwhelming. I wanted him to do more and he didn't, but it's Brando and that's the choice that he made. There's a lot of films that are done like that with actors where they don't go big, they go small, but it's real effective. So I'm kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt on that. I would love to talk to him and the director about it, because maybe that was something that they orchestrated, because maybe they got into those scenes and those rehearsals and they saw how dynamic these other people were, the other actors, and then some of the inmates that are playing characters. And some of the best people that I've met that are raw, that don't have a lot of acting chops or classes and things like that, they're people that are like hood level. They've done some time or whatever. They're able to focus and they're able to really just kind of tap into the essence of what they are. They don't have all of these pretensions and all of these layers because they've been ripped so raw by their lives in general. And they can harness it at will because it's a survival instinct. And then they have these amazing memories. And because they didn't really do a lot of traditional school, so the way they kind of get over in life and are effective, they have to remember a lot of stuff, And so I was really impressed with that as well.
There was a short film we saw in the Fayetteville Film Festival. Shout out to Cassie Self and the whole team down there. And it was made by, just a group of people from, I think a local neighborhood, I think in either Arkansas or Memphis or something like that. Nick, you might remember, but I thought the acting in it was tremendous, and all the actors in it were just people, but they were basically playing their life. And, they know what doesn't ring true and what rings inauthentic and what's corny and what's not. Sure. And so it just came off so real. I think it won a ton of awards while I was there. So that was the feeling I got from the actors in Sing Sing, to Nick's point. These guys that, which by the way, when you saw it early, you didn't have the opportunity to be in Nick's position. So this is my quick defense of Nick, which is that when I watched it, it was like March of 2024. Like it was like one of the first people to see it. I had no idea how Coleman was going to perform. Nobody had talked about it. I think Coleman Domingo's maybe the best actor right now.
Nope.
If you saw Daniel Day-Lewis.
No,
Daniel Kaluuya. I thought you said Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis, not the My Left Foot guy.
Yeah.
No, Last of the Mohicans.
No,
all other stuff.
I love him. I love him too. So I hate praising one guy because it makes it sound like I'm belittling another. I'm not doing that. But I just think when you watch him in Rustin, I mean that movie.
Oh, it's great. I'm not.
That movie doesn't even work if Coleman Domingo isn't in it. I feel like so. He's fantastic and he's super stylish and he's got a lot going on for him. So he knows how to sell his performances. I think maybe better than Daniel. Okay, even if he's not a better actor than Daniel. But I had no expectations. Nick is the point. I had no idea who the other cast were. So in the audience I was in, which was a proper theater with great sound, great screen, all the stuff. Mm-hmm. the audience, along with myself, were very surprised at the end when there was this revelation that the actors in it, and it's been a year, so this cannot be a spoiler, were not really actors. They were prisoners. They were really in this prison. They, like, some of them had never acted before, but they were so good.
Actually a yes and though, Chris. So I wanted to make that statement, that clarification is that yes, they brought something raw because their acting chops were not Hollywood acting chops. But remember, they are actors. Every last one of them has been acting potentially for years because that's how long they were in prison. And they were part of the acting program, which is why I was so impressed with their acting.
No, they were.
Training came from an acting school inside of prison.
This is where we need producer
these are
Bear.
Great actors.
I need the light skinned guy that was next to I need his name. That was right next to.
His name is Clarence Macklin.
Clarence Macklin. What people are really talking about when they say all the actors, they're really talking about, I mean, they do mean all the actors, but they're specifically talking about Clarence Macklin. And the fact of the matter is that, you know, whether you're practicing it for years or not, you don't expect him to be able to act, and in your opinion, outact a Coleman Domingo. That's all.
No, I didn't expect it. And then when he did 17 years in prison,
right? Like, and if that wasn't a factor, they wouldn't have left it as this big Kaiser Soze-esque reveal at the end of the movie. If that wasn't a meaningful fact, you know, Agent Kuyan wouldn't have dropped the mug. You know, like that was supposed to hit us, and it did. It was effective. So when you didn't know anything about the movie, you went in cold, like I did, and the rest of the audience there did. Then it was a really, really meaningful surprise, and the movie knocked you off your feet. So I wrote down sort of 4 points here. 1, location of where you watch it matters. You watch it on a plane, I would say yes, go watch it again in a proper theater, in your own home or somewhere else. 2, state of mind matters. There are movies that I've been told were great, but I was tired watching them, and I said, oh, it was okay. They're like, are you kidding me? Just okay? And I rewatched it with fresh eyes, and it's like, oh, I was asleep. I slept through that whole scene. I don't remember that. I was tired.
You know that Tenet will always suck, right?
No the movie Tenet?
He's like, no matter what.
Always suck.
Yeah, you know, there's two people in the world. There's two people in the world. There's two people in the world. The first type is the type that watches Tenet, didn't understand it, and therefore says it's dog shit. Garbage. And then there's the second type of person who watches it 4 times and still doesn't understand what it's about.
It's the worst movie.
Yeah.
So it can't be worse than Bowfinger, bro. I'm sorry.
It's not the worst movie.
Like Bowfinger?
No, I saw that movie in the theater. God, I was a big Eddie Murphy fan, big Steve Martin fan. I'm like, bruh, really? Y'all are just stealing my money.
He didn't like
not cool.
So anyway, the point is because we can get on a Tenet tangent. You know, if you do buy the movie Tenet for whatever reason for your home, and you're a filmmaker, watch the extras. The extras will be as good or better than the movie, because knowing how he made the movie will help you as a filmmaker. So, well, unless you have, it don't matter unless you get the budget. But to see how he did it, I think is
who else is going to get that budget? Who
knows? I have a friend that was the producer of World War Z, and he was telling me about why World War Z didn't get made, because World War Z with Brad Pitt was a huge hit. He said it didn't get made because we hired a big name director. Think of like a Spielberg-esque director, and that director wanted $220 million, and they were only going to give him $200, and he walked because he didn't get the extra $20 million. And I thought to myself, all these filmmakers out here would have just fallen over backwards.
I wish I was a white man. That must be so nice. Would you
to just walk?
If I gave you said you wanted $40, and I said I can only give you $35, you would take it.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
unless you need 40. Like if 40 gets you in Versailles, then you gotta you need 40. So,
it's like I don't know.
You're right. I mean,
so here's the third thing about Sing Sing. There is duality, and that plays a really big part in the Coleman Domingo performance, in my opinion. Okay, right. Frederick mentioned one side of it, but it's important for you, Nick, to hear the other side of it, which is as much as those ex-prisoners turned actors had to be in Coleman's world, Coleman had to try to be in their world. You see, they don't have to try to act like a prisoner. They know what that's like. They know the tension of it, to Frederick's point. They know how tight you have to be, okay? Coleman doesn't know that. He's pretending to do that. And that duality is really interesting. And then I would just simply say this. When I watched the movie, people walked out of that movie weeping. And audience reaction really matters. So it's not that to all of our points earlier, it's not that anybody's wrong or right. It's just that it is a good movie. It is a great movie by all general standards. It's a great movie.
I'm not.
Yep. And that's why it was nominated.
You said something earlier about where you see a movie and what state of mind that you're in. And some of those people that went in there.
There's a myth that if the movie's great, you can watch it on your iPhone and it'd be good. That's not true.
State of mind, and people have this weird state of mind sometimes about incarcerated people and black and brown people that are in jail. It really touches my heart.
That's right.
Well, you're talking about audience or location now, because you're talking about audience now.
Because that's where they were. That's where they were at. Now, I didn't cry at the end of that movie. I was a little bit like Nick. I was like, oh my God, Domingo could have done more. Like I get that. I'm with it. I'm with Nick on that. Yeah. That movie didn't make me cry. That wasn't that profound. It would make me cry if someone made a movie about, you know what I mean, and them kids and them shooting at them kids.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Like that made me cry because I don't know nothing about that, and that's like beyond. That would tear me up.
Yeah.
Something like that. People get all weak.
But you're guilty. But in that case, Frederick, you're guilty of the same thing that you're accusing those white people in the audience of being guilty.
I am.
You're looking at someone else's culture saying, "Oh, those poor people." I know. The white people are looking at the black people in jail like, "Oh, those poor people." Hey,
it all cascades. Colonialism down the path, and the colonial gaze is influencing our ability to be able to absorb film and film art and to appreciate it. And we're getting crappier and crappier at being able to even appreciate something that is meaningful. Federico Fellini and Truffaut and Godard, they would starve to death now. Nobody would even make films with these guys now. That's what's crazy. Even a Scorsese, like you go Mean Streets and he's like, I'm going to shoot this.
I just watched Mean Streets.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? You couldn't it's so hard to make that stuff now. People they're not even into it. They're not even interested in it. They're like, big budget. Is Brad Pitt a World War Z? Is Brad Pitt going to beat it or whatever? We want $220 million. Oh, we're only getting 200. We're walking. We're out of here. That's the world we live in.
This is, you're so talented. This is an amazing and perfect segue to a new segment called The Latest and Greatest. Led by our one and only Nick Buggs. Listen, just to put a period on Sing Sing, go watch it again in our proper theater. That's all. Hey, everybody. This episode is brought to you by Function Health. We chose Function because it's the only health platform that gives you access to the kind of data most people never see and the insights to actually take action. Every year, this season shows up with the same demands. New routines, shifting weather, and heightened focus on immune health. Most people think that stocking up on vitamins and hand sanitizer, but real preparation starts inside your body before the first cough or cold. So whether you're sending kids back to school or just stepping into a busier season yourself, it's time to recalibrate, to see what your immune system needs and to fill the gaps early. These are the biomarkers worth considering checking this time of year. So check this out. Here are the biomarkers. Okay, so we got vitamin D. You've all heard of vitamin D. You know how important it is. Higher levels are associated with improved immune health, function, reduced inflammation, etc. How about vitamin E? That's an antioxidant that helps protect immune cells from oxidative stress. We've got zinc. It's critical for fighting infections before they take hold. Cortisol, we've all heard of. We all have high cortisol right now. It seems like it's sort of this extension of the times, but it's stress that is dragging your immune system down day by day. So routine physicals, here's the deal. Routine physicals can skip this data, right? So you're left guessing why you're still feeling depleted. I just went to the doctor. They said, I'm good, yet I still feel depleted. Why colds linger, why you're struggling to bounce back after summer festivities. But you don't have to guess any longer. Function includes over 160 lab tests, so you can better see what's happening under the surface and actually take action. Bottom line, we use this, and we think you should too. Learn more and join using our link at www.functionhealth.com/make it. That's www.functionhealth.com/make it, and take control of your health today. And now, on to the show.
Yeah, well, I think I'm also going to watch it. I think having it up for Oscar contention isn't appropriate. I think that for me, kind of back to what Frederick was saying, I think there's a whole other stream of consciousness that these movies are trying to impart upon us that should not be lumped into the same conversation as some of these bombastic films that get made for the purposes of our entertainment or the grandiose nature of the film. Like I said, I still believe that Sing Sing is a film that I should watch with my children.
Yep.
Right. It, like Frederick said, part of the zeitgeist forever. It'll live on for a different reason than was it the greatest film? No, you need to stop and just breathe. And again, I will say this about the film, Frederick. You talked about how well it was made. And Chris, you commented on the fact that there was this, not the duality part, but the idea that I think it didn't feel cramped. One of the things that I loved about this was that it didn't make you feel imprisoned the entire time. Right? It selected. Exactly. It selected when they were imprisoned versus when the art was there was space.
Yes,
that was the key, and that was beautiful.
Yeah,
and that's the magic, and that's the power of filmmaking. We don't do enough of that, and I wish more filmmakers of color walked that path rather than saying, "I've got to go shoot on IMAX and pay $1 quadrillion for something and have the same actor playing multiple characters and all this other stuff." Like, I just think it's a giant distraction, and it's a waste of a lot of time and money when you can make the same points in something a little bit smaller, and actually conceptually and intellectually it can come off as even bigger. And that's a miracle with Sing Sing. But, there are moments where I was forgetting they're in prison. They're in prison. And I'm like, I'm just so lost in that process and what was going on with them. And I thought that was really fascinating, because most prison movies, especially the ones that are focusing on people of color, they don't do that. They're always like super confined. Even Malcolm X, when Spike shot Malcolm X with Denzel, he's always in like his little cell, and he's in there reading the Quran, and it's just like it never breathes. It never.
Yeah, but there was a reason for it, because when he was out of prison, there was more space.
That's also that sort of visual metaphor that Spike was trying to pull off there. Right. And he in a way, even though they weren't in prison, he kind of did that in Colors too, where it felt like you're trapped in a prison without bars, and he's very.
Colors was claustrophobic.
He's very good at that, and it's a really great point you bring up too, guys, because now that I think about it, every film that was, with the exception of like Conclave, was a small budget film that did a really good job of looking big for the budget. So Anora looked really big for the budget. The Brutalist looked colossal for the budget. Colossal. It looked like they spent every dime that Mission Impossible spent, and they only spent $10 million.
And that's phenomenal. And that is the future of filmmaking. The future of filmmaking is not at the top end, where it's hundreds of millions of dollars people are spending with no cap. It's back down to the nitty gritty, the good old days, and where you got to have talent, and you are going to tell a story within a reasonable budget.
The movie that does that this year really well on a low budget is the movie 28 Years Later. When I found out they shot those on iPhone 15 Maxes, I was floored.
Yeah,
I was like, there's no way.
I got a whole friend that's like
How'd they do that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot in there too. And when they go like iPhone 15 Maxes, they still have money in post. They're doing a lot of color.
They're doing a lot of stuff in post. Yeah, they got some special phone lenses. You can buy anamorphic lens for an iPhone now, Frederick. So,
which is cute if you could afford it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got to get multiple.
They're not super expensive.
It's like this. But then sometimes you just want a regular camera, and you want one camera, and you're going to cover a scene, and you're just going to have great moments. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you need, and you make your point.
Sounds like a Frederick film to me.
Agreed. That's why more of these things need to be shot in our community, and it's the biggest reason why I've been trying to focus in some of these markets, you know, like Atlanta, like Nashville as well, because those are the places to go tell these stories. Yeah. And for whatever reason, in these markets, they're chasing the dragon. They're trying to be like LA and New York, and it's a waste of time. Who cares what they do?
Yeah, because that's what money looks. That's what
so
money
many
looks like
filmmakers
to them. That's what success looks like to them.
That's a whole other conversation, and that might actually then play into what you're about to say here, Nick. So
well, I was just going to say.
Sorry, we delayed.
We delayed. It's okay, but I was going to say it's kind of like the polar opposite, right? So where we're going with the latest and greatest is Superman. Right. So I just recently saw Superman with the family. And this is a film that I'm like, okay, so Sing Sing, I was just underwhelmed by the main actor's performance. Right.
Right.
But the film as a whole, I understand very high quality. It'll last forever. I'm going to watch it with my kids. Like it's a good movie. And again, I'll watch it again under a different mindset. Superman, I'm not watching that movie again. At the end of this movie, I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to tell you, okay? I said out loud, I said, I feel like I was just punked. Like, this can't be the movie that I paid for with my family. This is expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like, Superman. I spent all this money to watch Superman, and it was garbage. So I'm like, this is the latest film, right? And y'all can talk about it if y'all seen it, and you can let me know what you thought. But I was just like, oh, bro, don't waste your time, but go see it because that's what we do. We watch movies. But it was the most formulaic, like, honestly, when I saw it, I was like, man, they had to have maybe this like a college project. You know, filmmaker trying to just, hey, here are the rules, okay? I need you to read the hero's journey, okay? And then I'm going to need you to stick to the plan, okay? And then don't stretch. I want you to emphasize every point of the hero's journey. I need you to blow it up. I need you to make it extra, right? Yes. Go extra with every point that you possibly can. And then that's going to be the movie. And that's what they did. And I was just like, what is this? Are you kidding? I just sat there and I just...
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
My wife was there. She said, I wanted to walk out in the first 20 minutes. I was like, I did too, but I can't. I can't walk out. We're with the family. I paid $1,000 to see this movie. I got to watch it.
I was literally thinking about the amount of money you paid, and I was thinking and empathizing with
the 4 people.
Black man was coming out.
There you go. 4 people. Kids ate popcorn. You're like, I'm like, you better eat. You better eat.
You escape under $100.
Plus the food. No, you got to pay for the food. So I'm like, y'all better eat every last kernel of that popcorn. We ain't leaving this theater. You the gummy worms. Lick the bag. Anyway.
Lick the bag is crazy.
Anyway, it was terrible. So then I'm thinking, okay, latest and greatest, right? So I'm thinking, okay, so what was the greatest Superman movie? Okay.
Superman 2 with Christopher.
So
Superman 2.
There you go. So Superman 2 is what I think Rotten Tomatoes, if you go through their list, they'll say Superman 2. I always go back to Superman 1 because it was such a game. Listen, it was such a game changer. Think about it. Superman 1, because it was the first, was the first movie that really introduced us to a serious superhero.
Yeah,
Everything else was campy and a joke, right? Batman back in the day, Adam West, come on, man. He's just silly. He's a comic. But like, that was his first serious superhero movie. And there were so many elements of Superman that was just like, oh my gosh, this dude can fly. Like all this, like on screen. So I get you from, if you take it back to just the movie, right? Absent the zeitgeist of the newness of it all, then I would agree with you.
Yeah,
Superman
but Hackman steals that movie from Reeves in one.
100%.
Hackmanism, like it's the Sing Sing effect that Reeves is actually like Domingo. He's just, you're waiting for it, just never happens. He's interesting, he's fine. He gets through. He doesn't mess up the movie, but it's Hackman.
It is Hackman, but here's the thing. But that's what was so cool about it. You have such a strong and powerful story.
Gene Hackman's just the best.
You've got like Chris mentioned duality earlier.
R.I.P.
That was beautiful. The duality of Clark Kent and Superman was perfect. It's like, Chris, we're watching Superman now.
Reeves built that standard.
Exactly, and no one has matched it. And that's one of the things that I have. But this current Superman movie, there is no duality. Take all the best parts of what Superman 1 and 2 were. Yeah. And then see if this one matches up with it. That's all I'm saying. Like, don't look at special effects and fight scenes and all that crap. Take the story, take the elements. None of this new movie match up to the elements of those two films. And to me, that's the greatest. Yeah, I would say Superman 2, greatest Superman film. I also say, hey, man, let's get back to tights, bro.
Get back to tights.
Clark Kent's mama, she fashioned that outfit for him, and it didn't have all the pads in the chest, the cups. You know what I'm saying? He didn't need all that because he's Superman. What does he need pads for? The chesticles, man. He didn't need the pads and all that stuff because he's Superman.
Whose idea was it to put underwear on the outside of pants, though?
Where did you wear your testicles? That's what I want to know.
I don't want to wrinkle everybody's cape, you know.
See, that's all, Chris. I said
it's off the top of my head.
I said chesticles.
Off the dome.
Yeah, he's on chesticles. I'm sorry.
Yeah, chesticles.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So anyway, that's my take on it.
That's what women have.
Film,
basically.
Wow.
I'm no, that's not a thing.
Wow.
We got to take that away.
Cover your chesticles, ladies. Or free them. I know a lot of girls that are free the tatas girls. Cool.
That's right.
Down
that's
with
right.
It.
But yeah, anyway,
with the funky shit.
That's where I'm at with the latest Superman, and that's where I'm at with the greatest. I think it's Superman 2 for sure. Superman 1 was the thing that introduced us to a serious superhero character, the duality between the Clark Kent and the Superman characters. Good story,
Agreed.
Great act. Hey, you know Marlon Brando was in Superman 1, bro.
Yes, he was, but not enough.
Of course not. It's Marlon Brando. We need more.
I wanted him to hang in there longer. I was disappointed that he wasn't there longer. And also, to your point, I think films in the fantasy world were turning at that particular time. This is 79 and 80. Another film I would throw in there, to your point, is the first Star Trek.
Yeah.
Star Trek, the motion picture, again, is another example. It set the table, realign the narrative standard, and then Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan comes in and just cuts everybody in half. And that film is dynamite. And I think
Star Trek is for adults, Frederick.
Yes, and because I got to tell you,
Star Trek is for
Star Trek
lovers.
2, Wrath of Khan is by far the best Star Trek ever to exist.
Unbelievable. Like, I mean, I still get chills watching him in that performance. He just, I couldn't believe that he could own that film and just absorb everyone around him in every scene. It must have been so intimidating to act opposite him.
Montalban. That's right, Montalban.
He just took his time, in saying the dialogue and things like that, and just really absorbed himself into that character. I believed him as that character.
Oh, 100%. And I feel like I'm going to say this about Star Trek, and you mentioned the first one. I'm surprised they got to make it 2 after they made 1.
Oh, yeah. 1 was... It was this long and weird.
It was long and meandering, and I had no clue what was happening.
It was intellectual property, right? Like the show had been
but
so
it wasn't
successful.
Like the show.
I know, but the show had been so successful. It had a runway. They knew they had an audience. That's what you're looking for. Like when it
give us a bait and switch.
Like when it comes to like making movies, you're looking for
into like 3 hours, which was a mistake. And I think that they realized that the second time around.
Yeah.
I heard from Jeb Brody over at Imagine about a month ago, and he said the films we're making right now fall into 3 lanes. They're either intellectual property, IP films. They're either formulaic films. And then the third lane, which is the one they like to make, are movies like Saltburn, where it looks like it's going to be a formulaic movie, and then on page 10, an incredible twist happens, and on page 30, an incredible twist happens.
That guy
can end a twist happens.
And shove it up his hoo-ha, because that third category...
He's a nice guy.
Good for him. I'm happy. But we don't participate in. That Saltburn lane, there's no people of color in that lane. Those nuanced films that take a bizarre turn or twist or whatever.
Get Out falls into that lane, and
it does. And he found his way in there, but he could not keep that door open to make more of that for other people of color.
Yeah, and I think people tried to ape him a little bit. They tried to copy him.
I mean, and I get really pissed about that, because you can't even have these nuances and twists and wrinkles and things with black filmmakers. They just want it on the nose. Like, I'm really good friends with one of Ryan Coogler's cameramen, and he said that's how Coogler's become successful, is that he's Trojan horsing everything. All of his ideology is always hidden inside of the general market's musings about society and the world and people of color. Whether you're talking about Fruitvale Station and a young black man being killed by the cops, which is like status quo in the status quo. They love that story. The next one is Rocky, and you're just flipping it and playing the B side of Rocky, which is Apollo Creed. But on the A side of Rocky, that's stolen from Joe Frazier. Rocky's Joe Frazier. That whole canon is because that run that he does and up at the steps in the museum, that's Joe Frazier's run. The style of Rocky in the ring and the duck and cover kind of thing, that's Joe Frazier.
And people thought it was Rocky Marciano. But it was
no.
Whatever. That's not Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano fought upright. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
No, I'm with you.
But that's the problem. And then he turns around and he makes Black Panther, and Black Panther's Stan Lee. I read Black Panther when I was a kid. The same guy that wrote Spider-Man wrote freaking, Black Panther. So that's not black IP, that's white IP. Again. And then he turns around now and he's doing, vampires in the 1930s.
Awesome.
And hidden behind the Klan and all of these other things that everybody's really comfortable with.
Yeah.
What makes Get Out great is it's either
smart or it's cheap.
What's that?
So it's either smart or it's cheap. It's either brilliant or it's cheap. But, what he's doing there. Yeah. Because I loved Sinners, and I loved that he packaged a lot of stuff story-wise into that framework.
Any problem with it. I love you guys.
Frederick, a master class on marketing.
I get it.
Our number one Bollywood here.
I know, but at the same time, he succeeds. He's burying the rest of his people alive. This happens in the music business all the time too. One person breaks through with some interesting stuff, and his stuff's interesting. I don't have a problem with it. But then his style becomes the formulaic standard, and everything orbits around him. Versus there's no other new filmmakers coming into the zeitgeist at the same time. Versus when I'm just going to be blunt, when it's the white people and somebody breaks through, there's a bunch of new directors that are coming through at the same time. It's not just one person. That's the problem. And it's like even with the Asian directors and Bong Joon-ho, it's like there's him and then nobody else. Before that, it was Ang Lee and nobody else. It makes you crazy.
You also mentioned, but remember, Frederick, you also mentioned earlier when you were talking, when you alluded to Sinners, you mentioned the idea of the money, right? So it's like if he were doing the types of things that he was doing on a much lower, more openly attainable budget, then the door might be more open. But the fact that the funding, the budgets of these movies have to be so big, then the door isn't open.
Yeah, and it's another weird surreptitious way where we are getting kept out of the system because there can only be.
It's not that part's not. That part's not a race thing. That to me, that part's a color thing, which is and the color is green. I can't tell you how many times I've been in rooms with investors and high net worth individuals where I'm pitching something that 5x on the ROI, and they laugh. They're like, I don't want to get out of the bed for a 5x. I want my next investment to be the next 100x, the next 1000x. That's what turns me on. That's what gets me aroused. And so the budgets, the films go up because they have the best chance to give that 100x return.
I'm going to throw my race card into this, and I'm going to say that within Black popular culture art, we do our best work on lower budgets. If I put the data out in front of you from all the music Black people have made and all of the other films we've made and all of the other contributions to art and culture, we work really well from the middle down in budgets, and then we have a huge return on investment. That's where we excel. We fall off a cliff when we start like dumping tons of money into stuff. Kevin Hart just did that huge thing in Atlanta about the night of the Ali Frazier fight in 1970, 71 or whatever. And it was like everybody was in it, and Sam Jackson was in it, Taraji Henson was in it, all these other people. Dude, it was a dead fish. And they spent a ton of money. It was crazy. It was the stupidest thing that Kevin Hart could do at Heartbeat, and he can hear me now, and I don't care. And I'd fight him in a parking lot over this.
We know Jeff Clanagan. We can reach out to him and give him your opinion.
They just waste money. They go big, and they waste money. And then Coogler, hopefully he's going to be sustainable. He's going to be able to keep this up. But the system's going to keep asking him to go bigger, 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 bigger. Here's $200 million or whatever. Don't fail. But keep going. And then what happens is inevitably that balloon's going to burst. It bursts for everybody.
But your point there is about the we, right? Yeah. So I think that's where, like, when we mention Ryan Coogler, some people might consider that an example of the we. And when you're saying, no, that's not an example of the we, that's an example of the one. The we are the rest of us who need to work from the middle down because that's more obtainable, and we've proven the collective have proven more successful there. Yes, some of us.
We're great in that space. That's how we make Kind of Blue with Coltrane and Davis, and they're like, we're going to get in here and we're going to start playing and we're going to figure it out, with no money. And then it's one of the greatest albums of all time. Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson, they're making Off the Wall for like no money.
First album I ever bought.
I just think that we, for whatever reason, we excel in that space. And I think it has a lot to do with our situation in this diaspora that we were brought into 500 years ago.
Check this out, Fr3der.
We just know how to do things.
Check this out, Fr3der. I just read this today, and I shared this with the team.
Yeah.
Guess what trademark Netflix owns? Strong Black Lead.
Strong Black Lead?
They have the trademark on Strong Black Lead.
Well, that's because they created that thing for Netflix. It's a category of film.
Like, I looked at the categories they have the trademark in. And so for people who don't know, when you go to do a trademark on a phrase or a word or whatever, you have to pick the categories. I can't speak. The categories that you want the trademark in. And for each category, there's a price tag with it, right? So if you want to do it the right way with lawyers and all that stuff, get ready to spend thousands of dollars to lock up, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 categories, 4 at most, but maybe 2 or 3. They locked up 10 different categories for this phrase, Strong Black Lead. So they probably spent between $25,000 and $50,000 on just that alone, if not more, on just trademarking strong black lead. So good luck trying to put that on a T-shirt, because I know you can't do that, because I know categories 41 and 42 are apparel. So they're going to start selling Netflix strong black lead shirts, Frederick.
I know, but Nick, help me out here. But like, who cares? Because that's not even how we talk anyway. Like, who cares?
No,
right.
We don't talk like that.
Like, that's not even how it would go down. And what
they try to make you talk that way. It's like African American. We don't really talk like that.
And that's the point, and that's the problem, and that's when they start that wag the dog shit with our culture, which really offends me, because they're just leading us to that place so they can own us. But we don't. No one says in the black world strong black lead. That means bleep to us. That is nothing.
Yeah, well, go look at the films that are in that category, bro. Like, no.
What
like some of these movies are not.
Do you have some of them?
No, I don't have them off the top, bro. I'm just saying, go.
I know,
look,
but I wouldn't
did
say
that
it on
one day.
an open line anyway, because I wouldn't want them stolen.
Right.
Want you to say
right.
it. But I have them too. But none of them reflect that. That's that weird interpretive white shit that they do with our race, because they think they know us because they've gone to school with us or dated us. Like,
it wasn't.
That's uncomfortable. I don't try to figure them out. I don't try to like come up with like, some variation of the river dance. I give respect where respect is due.
Respect is due.
I don't go stepping into other people's spaces, but they're constantly in ours, constantly, and trying to
Caucasian X. That's what we'll call them.
Caucasian X.
And then just try to force it on them. Caucasian X.
No. It's Caucasian, but the S is an X, bro.
Yeah, Caucasian. They just call it Xanadu going forward.
right. All right, guys. I got one. Okay, I got one last thing for you
about Superman.
About Superman.
Okay, go ahead.
It's a really cool thing.
I'm biased about it because I was named after Christopher Reeve, so I'm biased.
Yeah, you're biased, but check it out.
That's funny.
Superman. It's true. Superman and the Clan of the Fiery Cross is a storyline from the 1946 radio series, The Adventures of Superman, where Superman battles the Ku Klux Klan, exposing their secrets and bigotry. This narrative was based on real life efforts by activist Stetson Kennedy to undermine the Klan's influence, and led to a significant decline in their membership. Bro, I did not realize they pitted Superman against the Klan, and to a degree.
So now you have to stop saying it's a bad movie.
Bro, I didn't say it was a bad movie.
It's a great 1946. They just mishandled it. They mishandled
it.
Yeah, if he'd gone in there and watched that movie and that Superman had been battling the Klan, we would not be able to shut Nick up now. Look at it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He'd be excited. He'd be like, I'm going back to see it for the third time.
You're right.
Stetson's a universally sexy name, by the way.
Like dragging him to it.
Kennedy? That's a great name.
That's right.
They don't have the guts to make that kind of film.
No. They couldn't do that.
They'll never happen.
It would take away one of the
thing, guys.
Frederick, and you can't take away one of the quadrants. Right, you got to be
like I said.
If you're spending that much money on Superman, you got to be a 4-quadrant film, and that's really essentially what you didn't like about the movie, Nick. In a lot of ways, when I think about it, I liked it more than you, but I also didn't have the expectation you had, and so
I don't even know what expectation I had.
Well, I just think Superman really well, and you know the history of it, you know what it's supposed to be. I was kind of with Howard Stern in his critique in the sense that, like, I thought it was, first of all, incredibly formulaic, but I expected that. So it's hard for me to critique it. I knew it would be formulaic. I knew Superman was going to win.
I think the marketing didn't say that. The marketing was like, this is a new Superman. It's different. He's kinder, softer, gentler. He's more like, they tried
funnier,
to get out.
I guess. Yeah,
I guess they just lie. They just lie. That's why I know I'm going to sound racist right now, but that's why I'm so tired of white movies.
No,
because they misrepresent themselves in the marketing all the time. And
there was a very prominent black character in this Superman, though. So when you watch it, you will like that, Frederick. So
even that, man, I'm like,
the black guy is easily the smartest guy in the movie.
Well, thank God.
his character is the smartest guy in like the universe.
The smartest guy in the universe. So I appreciated that, and I liked his style and the flavor he brought to the movie. But I knew it would be formulaic. I knew they had to try something new because DC was betting the farm on this film. So they had to make it 4-quadrant, meaning it has to be a movie for everybody. That dog being in the movie pulled in all the kids, pulled in all the young girls, pulled in all the older ladies on Prozac.
But it's stupid because you don't have to do that. Make a great film. People will find their way to it. People love to cross over into other quadrants, get out of their box, jump into another one.
That shit, we can't even risk it. Because DC failed too many times in a row, Frederick.
I think they failed again.
No, they're making a ton of money off Superman.
I'm sure they're making a bunch of money. They made a bunch of money.
When I
off the
say
last
fail or
one,
succeed,
too.
Nick, I mean money, not quality. They're going to make.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, but even Rotten Tomatoes right now, man, they put this Superman is number 3.
Yeah,
right now,
and I think that's accurate. Frederick, Nick, the point is this. You said it earlier, Nick. These movies during tentpole time are meant to be junk food. They are meant to entertain us. We get the scenes in the early year or at the end of the year. We don't get them in the summer. I know, Frederick, that's frustrating as shit. But the truth is, the whole thing is about money.
Anymore, and it's not the Lost Boys coming out with Kiefer Sutherland and Jason Patrick. It's a different world now.
Yeah,
we need more meaningful film.
It is a completely different world.
Yeah, like I don't understand why we're doing this rinse and repeat thing in the film business. We should be going in the opposite direction of where this geopolitical crap's going. They don't even have the guts.
What Chris said is the money, like Chris said. Exactly. But listen, I think what's going to happen is that the more we include, the more we shift into things that are AI based, like when we start including more of that technology into our films, I think we are going to see more people saying, look, if they're going to do that, we have to start doing the opposite.
Well,
I think
did you guys watch the series The Studio yet?
Back into real filmmaking.
Did you guys watch the series The Studio with Seth Rogen yet?
I agree with
Nick. Did you see it?
Because I hate Rogen. But that's right. But Nick's point is very poignant. Like the great battle between human beings and AI isn't going to be out on the field of battle with Skynet. It's going to be intellectually within the realm of how we think, process, and express ourselves. Yeah. That's where the war is going to be fought. And it's already happening. You know how many pitches I get from people that are spit out of AI and they're trying to fool me, and I read it and I'm like, that's AI. Or I give it to, someone that works in my office that understands AI, and they're like, this is AI. This isn't someone's real idea.
Yeah, because that's Superman to me. That's what Superman could have been. Like AI could have written
AI might have wrote the movie.
It may have.
Yeah. I didn't like Superman getting his ass kicked the whole movie because that's not my Superman.
About that.
My Superman is gentle, Frederick, but he's also not a bitch. Does that make sense?
That's right. Oh yeah, no, 100%, man. That's what he's supposed to be. He's for Superman. Dang it! The only way you're gonna
Christopher Reeves played that brilliantly.
Yes,
he played that brilliantly,
and he's a brilliant actor. Or was?
Superman 2, it's just he's in love with Lois. He gives up all of his powers for Lois, and the world goes to hell in a handbasket. And he's got to go back and save the world, and he has to give up Lois Lane to save the world, and he has to be Superman, and he can't find love. Those are two separate things, and he's heartbroken.
Yeah,
story.
And that he's heartbroken. He can't have it all. That's the metaphor.
Okay,
even Superman
so guys,
can't have it all.
Two things, and then we'll wrap on Superman.
That's genius.
Let me give Superman, this latest Superman, a little bit of props. Nicholas Hoult, who played Lex Luthor, was fantastic. He was all in.
I couldn't stand him.
He at that scene where he starts to cry because what he wants so bad. I thought so over the top. That's amazing. You didn't like that he's playing a video game to fight Superman. I'm talking about his. I'm talking about his performance as Lex Luthor.
Over the top.
And it's so hard to play these mega villains to me, I thought he did a really good job in a movie that was supposed to be tongue in cheek, and he brought realism and he grounded the villain so that we believed he was truly evil, which is so hard to do in a movie that almost has the tone of Austin Powers, right? So it's like when you think about the villains in Austin Powers, they're highly comedic, and you know they're destined to fail. He had to somehow ground that so they could make future Superman movies. That's just really, really hard to do. So I just want to give him his props. And the second thing, the reason I brought up the studio is because it's really, the whole show is about the thing that the two of you brought up off of what I said about money, which is you have to, in the show, I hope this isn't too big of a spoiler, but in the show, they have to make this big budget movie for everybody. It's 4-quadrant film, and they're going to base it on the Kool-Aid Man. And Ice Cube is playing the Kool-Aid Man. Okay? So already funny, right? And subversive in a way. And they're doing that because the studio head, Seth Rogen, who earned and got this job, but was kind of a filmmaking artist kind of guy, he needs to make a lot of money on Kool-Aid Man so he can make his art film. And and there are some people who hate the show, and some people say that is my real life. And what I found that's interesting is the people who are saying that's their real life work in Hollywood. And the people who don't like it work outside of Hollywood.
Yeah, and I don't like it, and they can all go, die in a fire. And then why does it have why does it have to be Kool-Aid Man and
so
it's that same note that they hit all the time.
Well, that's a storyline in it.
In there, I almost got into a fist fight in Beverly Hills in a bar one night because with this white producer, he was telling me that like the way that you get in the business is you go do black stuff to get legit, vis-a-vis, a lot of these directors, and then you pivot back into the white world. That's how I take that. I take that personally, because if that would be funnier to me if Seth Rogen, who's a Jew, he had to go do some exploitive thing that involved his own culture or whatever. Or he had to do a period film and it was Superman has to fight the Nazis in Germany and that's the film he's got to make or whatever. And he's having this issue of conscience.
Well, in the show, his team is concerned
they don't care.
Kool-Aid is the drink of black culture, and maybe the movie's going to fail because Ice Cube is playing.
It's done. It's this diabetic drink that white people made that they sell the shit out of in the hood because there's no water.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a very funny skit online about Hawaiian Punch being very similar, where it's the only drink that is delicious but makes you thirstier.
That's great.
In the skit, it's a big like plot. It's like a conspiracy by white people, very similar, Nick, to Black Dynamite. Where it's like, you've diabolically chemically created a drink that's delicious and refreshing, yet makes you thirstier. So you have to keep buying more.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I know we're gonna jump to the next thing.
Yeah, we're gonna jump.
But I wanted to comment on that Lex Luthor thing, and like I said,
comment on it. You didn't like
evil.
it. I liked it.
No, yeah, you called him evil, but like that wasn't evil to me. That's the part that bothered me the most. Like I like evil. Like I like it when Superman has to deal with evil.
Right.
That's great because that's the point, is that you have the hero against evil. And Lex Luthor wasn't evil in this. Mm-hmm. This dude was just disturbed and highly envious. That was, he said, envy is at the source, at the core of everything that he was doing. He was just freaking envious of Superman, and he wanted to destroy the world because of envy. I was like, you gotta be kidding me with this. Like this.
I think he tried to make the thing more complex, right?
About envy. No, he said it. It's like on the point. I'm saying
envy. They tried to add envy, which is a complex emotion, right? Because to be envious of somebody, you actually have to love them. Because otherwise you'd be apathetic.
He did. That's what he said. You have what I don't have. That's the thing. Like you have this thing that I can't have because I'm human, and I hate it. And my point is like, it was just, anyway, it was so over the top.
It was pathetic, and it was over the top. And Nick is absolutely positively right again. And this is the zeitgeist of our times. And these young people coming along now, that's why they say hater all the time. Like their idea of evil incarnate is being envious and jealous of somebody. Mm-hmm. They have reappropriated the construct. That is how we know we are aging and getting old, and there's a whole nother generation behind us, and they confuse, envy and evil.
Your brand of evil is the Joker, then, where it's kind of like, I'm evil because I'm evil, not because I'm jealous.
A sociopath, a psychopath, someone who doesn't care about life itself, someone who is interested in creating chaos and disorder. That's evil.
That's evil. And the person who just wants to take from others. I think, And my thing is that the evil of the earlier days of Superman and our superheroes, and even in our stories, just storytelling, was that there was something that we all understood to be bad, right? We all, and in these films, they're just metaphors for the things that we need to attack, the things that we need to fight against, rail against, come together against in our own lives. This was about one guy who was envious.
And his emotional issues. Like he needs to
Exactly. It was him. It was about this one guy. It isn't greater than that. Superman is... Exactly. Superman is greater than that. His essence is bigger than that. This movie was about one punk.
So we were having a conversation about this, Nick, this has been a great conversation because there's been a few points where we've actually bent towards each other a little bit, like trees in the wind, and versus standing erect on our platform of belief. And I'm leaning towards you a little bit on this, Nick, because I do the conversation I've been having this week, and I think, Frederick, we touched on this a little bit about people slow, but sort of devolving slowly into insanity in culture all around us. And I spoke with my buddy and collaborator Maki on this for hours, just like the slow devolving into insanity. And so I heard this thing from Paul Bloom, who's a New York Times bestseller, and Paul Bloom teaches. He on top of being an author, he's also a professor, if I'm not mistaken. And I think how it went, I may be maybe paraphrasing, some of this is wrong, but he asked a class, if you could have an experience of life, a beautiful experience of life, but it's not real. So think being plugged into the Matrix, or real life with all its trials, tribulations, ups and downs, heartbreaks, etc., betrayals, good times too. Which one would you take? Half the class took the experience over the real life. And Paul mentions that the massive underlying problem with this is that 50% of his class chose to be psychotic, because by definition, psychosis is a break from reality. And so what we know as evil is now changing. And, this narrative and the Superman thing about envy and wanting, and then this narrative about being a hater, Frederick, like you mentioned, it's this idea of, I don't hate you because you're rich and the money you have is misappropriated, or, use it in the wrong way, or no one should have that amount of money.
Right.
I'm envious of you. Therefore, I hate you because I want your money. I want your experience, my perception of your experience of life. Plug me into that, and if I can't be plugged into it, I'm
going to hate you. And I hate you. To Nick's point again, it is literally to make this whole thing full circle, the metaphor of living as a black man, or the three black men that are on this thing right now. Like, how many people have been jealous and envious of you because of just how you carry yourself and how you handle yourself and who you are. And you have taken this embodiment and this dark skin, and you have scaled it up to its fullest potential. And you can come into a room and you can rock it like that, no matter who's in the room, no matter whatever anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter how much money you have or whatever, or how much they think you have. You're somebody.
Yeah.
That's what that character
I've run into that many times,
about.
Frederick.
And that part's interesting, but that's not evil. That's a super insecure person that has power.
Yeah,
right.
And that is power,
or is powerless, right? Like what I've run into it.
But they still control things. They still have power. They can still.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Things.
Yeah, the larger.
People still care what they think. Versus they won't care what you think. How many times have you been in a situation and you are the smartest guy in the room, and they don't listen to what you have to say, and they're listening to the dumbass?
That's a Nick experience. It's not a Chris experience. Never for me. But I've noticed too, though, sadly, that they don't know they're doing it a lot of times. Like
Who cares?
I have a few people in my inner, I have a few people in my sort of not inner circle, but sort of that ring outside the ring, Frederick, that I do get the sense that, and I've confirmed this actually. I'm like, why did you think that I meant that? And I found out it's because I view myself, and this is kind of sad actually, differently than they view me. I'm still the kid from Lower Antioch and Woodbine, scraping to get by, making mustard sandwiches and you know, I like open face mustard sandwiches is what I used to eat. That's how sometimes little we had, and I'm that person. That's who I am to me. But to the people who didn't grow up with me, that have always known me as this version of myself, I come to find out that the resentment I'm feeling from them
massive
is because I'll say something and they're hearing it from the mouth of someone who is maybe has a little comfort, financially, right? Like, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't even view myself that way.
Yeah, because you have comfort and sense of self and dignity.
I didn't mean it that way. So I'll find out I'm defending my damn self, brother. Like
I know.
Like, I didn't say that like that.
I didn't have open face sandwiches like that, but I had cream cheese and jelly.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I said, earlier in this show, I said, I'm from the South Side of Chicago. But when they don't get a taste of that, they only see or feel like the essence of who I really am and the integrity of me. They have a problem with it. They go weird. They get sideways. That's why I made the joke about we were sitting together at Soho and like nobody came over and talked to us. Nobody came over and talked to us, because nobody's going to come over and talk to a couple of highly intelligent black men having. Oh,
you don't mean the wait staff. You mean people just didn't. Yeah. People. That is true. People
is a networking environment.
Yes. Yeah.
People, you're socialized to you go over, you talk to people, you introduce yourselves or whatever. Nobody's coming over to us, man.
Yeah.
You kidding me? I wouldn't talk to us. I'd be like, who are they? They looking for, I don't know. Like, they have an expectation and it's envy. I got people all the time that like fall off with me, because they're jealous or they have issues with me or they think I've overstepped my bounds or I don't have the right to say or do certain things. And I have other friends that think like truth is in darkness. I mean, people are jacked and you have to be able to navigate all of that moving forward. And it's like Nick was saying, we had parents who were always there to protect us. The sad part about the world today is that we can't protect these kids. Not the same way that we once did because life's too complicated. Because you can't really take away their phone. You can't keep them away from these degenerates out in the world. There's guns everywhere, and we can't, it's hard for us to make decent movies and for us to have, we don't even have our own music anymore. I got into a fight with a dude about black music and he was
I can talk about this all day.
Trap music. Like I said, music you'd be on a desert island with, and I said I picked Miles Davis. And he got irritated because I wasn't interested in trap music. And I said, I don't think I can do that. I said, I don't value, and I told him, I think more of jazz and blues and gospel and, old school hip hop and a lot of other traditional types of black music more than this modern incarnation of black music that's come along in the past 15 years. I'm just not with it. I mean, it's like hitting there, here and there, but I'm not in love with it. And that doesn't make me any less of a black man because I'm not in love with it. I think it makes me more of a black man because I'm not in love with it. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, let me give a quick one on that. I know that we could do this all day.
I know you have a lot on this one, Nick.
I'm just going to do it quick. I'm going to do it quick because I know we want to close out. We've had a really good conversation. I know, Chris, you got something you want to ask Frederick before we go. But I'll say it like this: it's like I enjoy. Let's just say I enjoy Jack Daniels, right? Or we can just call it. Or we can just call it liquor. I enjoy Jack Daniels. I enjoy my Belvedere martinis. I enjoy it. Okay. But I know I can't drink it all the time because it's poison.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. It's poison. So
this is
it's the same
first
thing
drink
with
of the week.
The current zeitgeist, but it's the current. It's the same thing as the current zeitgeist of what we'll call black music. Like you can enjoy a little bit of it here and there, but what it is today is poison. So that's why you can't have too much of it. You can't be on a desert island and only drink poison. I need water, right? I need something that's going to nourish my body and allow me to survive. That music is poison, like it is. So you just have to figure out every once in a while, go ahead, take a sip, right? A little bit, between cheek and gum, as my dad says, ain't gonna kill you.
That is weird.
Right. But so that's how I see it.
Right. No, and I agree with you. Yes, and there are, in doses, it's fine, and there are things that I do enjoy and I do like, and they do get to me. But in high doses, no.
I carved out 2 weeks of the year, which we're at the very end of this 2 weeks, by the way, guys. I intentionally carved out 2 weeks of the year to only listen to the Clips' new album. Let God sort them out. And I've been listening to only the Clips for the last 2 weeks, but I knew I was going to do that. I love the rollout. I'm a big marketing guy, so I all that was delicious little snacks for me watching how they did it, going back at least a year, very similar to what Nolan's doing right now with the Odyssey. But the album is great, and shout out to Malice, who actually, by the way, Frederick, this is so crazy. We've been talking. I just wasn't playing. We mentioned Soho House a few times. Malice was there. Cool as hell. Shout out to Malice, one member of the Clips, who you can approach, and he's just a normal dude eating a cheeseburger, sloppy, juice getting on his fingers. I'm like, cool, love it. It's good. Sometimes you don't want to meet people, artists that you're a fan of, because they'd let you down. But he did not. So shout out to Malice of the Clips. Who I got to check out the other day at Soho House. So a very, very cool dude. But to your point, once this 2 weeks is over, I'm back to my normal regimen of music. That's almost my hip hop for the year, and that's tough because there's a lot of albums that came out recently that are hip hop that from Freddie Gibbs to Raekwon, a few other albums that are out there. But I'm going to mix it up after this.
I encourage you to do that. Don't keep listening to the same thing.
We are going to fall, dive, tumble headfirst into Clear the Set. This is a bullet round for you, Frederick.
Oh, no.
Bullet round questions for you from the filmmaking world all the way to the esoteric. Are you ready for Clear the Set, Frederick?
Fire in the hole.
Okay, let's do it. Top 3 films.
The top 3 films.
Yep.
All-timers?
Yep.
Or are we talking like in eras or decades or anything like that?
Your list, however you want to do it.
My list, just straight up, like good old-fashioned filmmaking. Probably tie at number 1 between Psycho and Vertigo. I can go either way on both of those films. I just think that they're brilliant films. Here's a peculiar dark horse that's in that category, Do the Right Thing. Spike Lee, I think it's the perfect example of just right place, right time, right everything. He put a lot of people on in the business in that film. It's a who's who of the cast. It's at the end of the 1980s. It is the exclamation point and the summation of the 1980s as well. And he just exposes the complete inside out corrupt nature of the 1980s, as much as if it was a benefit to a lot of other people not in the hood. But the production value of that film reflected the rest of the universe. That is one of the most exquisitely filmed Black films of all time. And I just think it is just, I can watch it over and over and over and over again. And I think another film that has just really found its way, it's a tie again, and it's Get Out and Parasite. I think that they are two peas in a pod. I think that they say a lot about social hierarchy and affluence and the caste system that we have in our society that marginalizes and minimizes people. And they say it in a very extraordinarily creative way, and they use the convention of horror to do it. It's a textbook example in both of those films of how you can use horror to tell meaningful stories. So that's kind of my top 3 films, and certainly there are other films that I think are very, 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 very good. I think Citizen Kane is an awesome film. I think Sunset Boulevard is an awesome film, and there's actually a lot of films by Billy Wilder that I think are very good too. I'm not as much in love with more of the modern filmmakers. Bong Joon-ho and Jordan Peele. I think they're throwback guys. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that, and I like that. The same way sometimes I like throwback musicians. Sometimes I like somebody to get out there with a dirty guitar and sing me a song, and that's good enough for me. I view those filmmakers in that realm as well. They can tell you a story, and they can tell it in an interesting and entertaining way. And they take risks. Jordan Peele takes a lot of risks.
Jordan Peele, especially.
Yeah, Us and Nope. I mean, those are another risk films. Now, they didn't make the money the other film did, but he didn't make, Get Out 2. He went on and took risks, and I admire that.
Me too. Film you're embarrassed to say you haven't seen.
Dirty Dancing.
Film everyone loves but you hate.
Dirty Dancing.
Which actually, yes. Essentially, yes. Weirdly enough, Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
I hate that film. And but there are people that will just fight you in the parking lot over it. And I think it's trash. And I think it's just overproduced trash. And in comparison to another film that came out that same year, The Wizard of Oz, not even close. The Wizard of Oz is still a film that I can watch in delight and feel a part of and connected to. There's nothing that I feel connected to in Gone with the Wind. It's the Hattie McDaniel performance is amazing, and I am just still riveted by it to this day. There is this one shot where he's come back from the war. The plantation is in disarray. He opens the door, and there she is, and he's like, "What's happened? Tell me what's going on." And then she just tells him everything that's happened. It's all in one take, and it's a crane shot, and she's talking to him as is your wife's dying upstairs, and she's going to lose the baby, and then the Union soldiers have overrun and everything, and the slaves have run off, but I've stayed because I'm loyal. And the crane shot, she's saying all of this as they're going up the steps under the top landing, and it's got to be 3 minutes almost. It's unbelievable acting, and it's so real and so visceral, and Clark Gable and tremendous camera work and lighting and all this other stuff. And in that moment, I'm like, yes, you win the Oscar of 1939. That was brilliant. Other than that, I don't give a shit about anything else that happens in the movie. I know other people love it. All the way to my grandmother loved this film. It fundamentally bothered me that my grandmother loved this film, and that says a lot. And this is the danger of media programming for marginalized people. We have to be careful what we put into our minds as well. It's one of the things I do like about Nick. Nick is very discerning.
Yes.
Nick will not
one of my favorite
do certain things or see certain things, and if he accidentally does, he has a way of washing it out of his mind, or compartmentalizing it and putting it into other space, and then slowly dissolving it.
It reminds me of something Dick Gregory used to say, Nick, which is that imagine being poor in St. Louis. He's talking about his own mom, Dick Gregory. He's like, imagine being poor, struggling, single mom with kids in St. Louis, working all year for Christmas and then giving credit to Santa Claus. and that's the feeling that Frederick just gave me describing Gone with the Wind. Is AI a tool or a master?
It's a tool. It's not even close to being a master. It'll never be a master. The only master is the one that's sitting on your shoulders. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that people do not use it to its fullest potential or capabilities, and people are too distracted. The difference between us and AI is that AI is not distracted. We are distracted. And ironically, we can be distracted by AI, and which is so weird.
Fair enough.
But we can also put all the wrong information or give all the wrong information to AI. AI is poison. Because it can only aggregate, algorithms and information that it can source out. Do you really think you're interested in the source material over the past 500 years in America for AI to give you any real semblance of what Black people are? Get out of here.
Not that particular.
No way. I never go into AI and look for things involving unique cultures and get something that I feel really good about or very satisfied with. AI is great for privileged people, and that's why they like it so much, and that's why they use it, and that's why they're like, okay, we're going to use AI and go spend $150 million to make a wet, noodly Superman movie.
Favorite cheat day meal, Frederick?
Favorite cheat day meal? It's always in LA, and it's a fat burger. From Fat Burger.
Fat Burger from Fat Burger. Fries,
I wish I could have.
Now, I try to slow down, man. I try to slow down because it's just like I'm weird. I go in there, I'm like, I'll have the Fat Burger and a glass of water. Like I want the milkshake.
I lie to myself too with Coke Zero.
Fries, but I'm like, I'm trying to be reasonable, but it's cheat day Fat Burger.
All right, last one. More dangerous to the Black community: an ignorant Black man or an ignorant white man?
Those have flipped. If you had asked me prior to the conservative nationalistic era that we are in now in America, back then, I would have said the Black man. The clueless Black man is the most dangerous person. I have flipped my script. It is now the clueless white man. And I can tell you exactly why.
Okay.
Because now we got clueless white men walking around that think they can walk around with the chest puffed out. They can think that they don't have to, if they walk through the door first, they don't have to do me the dignity of holding it for me, walking right behind them, even though I always offer that dignity to every human being that walks behind me. They will now look at you funny. They won't talk to you in the elevators. They'll like get a little bit, chesty in the parking lot. Sometimes they think that they got a little bit more going on. And definitely when they're in groups and you are by yourself as a Black man, they play a little, it's a little weird sometimes as well. I've seen enough videos watching the current incarnation of law enforcement interacting with many people of color, and I'm appalled as well. But this is not 1935, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, or 95. People now got something for them. They don't understand that people will stand up and they will fight back and they will push back, and no one is going to go quietly into the night. So this game that they want to play, that they think that they can just come in and take everybody's rights and stuff like that, or they're just going to go grab people and drag them around and it's going to be okay, and they can wear the little masks and have the little ice thing on the back of their shirt, and they're going to be good. Nah, it's different now. People have had a taste of freedom. We know what this is. We walk with our heads held high, and they can be that way all they want, but they will eventually be forced to, again, keep it to themselves. And so right now, the most dangerous person or the craziest person or the most pain in the ass person is that twisted white man individual that is just wreaking havoc on everyone, and not just people of color, but women in the LGBTQ community and immigrants. They just come in for everybody, and everybody's not going to just roll over for them. They're delusional. Yep. They're delusional, but they're still really excited that the NFL football season is going to start on time. And can Aaron Rodgers lead the Pittsburgh Steelers to the playoffs? They're still good with that part. You know what I'm saying? But they're not good with humanity. will LeBron leave the Lakers?
Right. That's just the current form of the experience I just talked about from Paul Bloom. That's just the current form of plug yourself in. And
they got to protect Caitlin Clark.
And if you disrupt the experience, you're f***ing it up. They might as well stay in the real world.
Yeah. So I'm like that. They're my problem now. That's the one now. Like I said, 10 years ago, I would have said, it's us.
It's the ignorant black man. Yeah.
It's ignorant ass white man now. Ignorant. I'll take the ignorant black man for 200, Alex.
Well, Frederick, you of course are never short of words, ideas, concepts, things that perspectives, things that illuminate me and Nick and illuminate our audience. What'd you say?
You guys bring it out. I appreciate this. I really do.
We love it. We want to have a platform where people feel of all, like you said, all people can come on this platform and just speak. We love creating a platform for that, especially for creatives. So with that in mind, we'll end on this. What does it mean to Frederick Taylor to make it?
Wow. Frederick Taylor has already made it. Ooh. And because I was told so by my grandmother, who was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, in the early 20th century, specifically 1923, and was the daughter of a sharecropper. And her father also was the pastor of a church, and her father also was a postman and ran a feed store. He had multiple jobs to keep the roof over his family's head. Her mother had died when she was 3 years old, and she had two other sisters, so it was 3 girls and the dad. And he kept that family together. And he gave all 3 of his daughters a tremendous amount of identity. And through that identity, those 3 daughters decided they didn't want to stay in Memphis, Tennessee and pick cotton and be sharecroppers. They wanted to go north, and they wanted to become educated. And so one of them went to Detroit, one of them went to New York, and one of them went to Chicago. The one that is my grandmother went to Chicago. I asked her once, I said, when you were going north, what was on your mind? What were you thinking about? And she said, I was dreaming of a future when my grandchildren could do whatever they wanted to do with their life. And I said, well, you still hadn't had mom yet. And she says, I know. Back then, we dreamed for our grandkids. Mm-hmm. And she dreamed me into existence. And she reminded me every day of my life until she passed away that I was a success because I'm the most successful person in the history of our family, because I'm the first person in our family to operate completely and totally of my own free will. And I am not beholden to anybody. I don't work for anybody. I don't have to listen to anybody. If I want to lay in bed all day, I can. Or if I want to get out of bed and be the first one at the office and the last one out at the office, I can do that too. I can be the best I want to be or the worst, but I have chosen to be the best. Therefore, I have made it, and I am doing it of my own free will, and that makes me successful. And she taught me that, and that has made me a man. And, people that kind of come at me and say, well, why haven't you done this or done that? Or how come you haven't made X amount of dollars and all this other stuff? And, Ryan Coogler's making movies. Is Ryan Coogler free? I don't know. He just signed a 10-year deal with Disney. Does that make him free? I don't know. You'd have to ask him. He's got money, but does he have freedom? I'm free. So, I'm a success, and I believe everything my grandmother told me. So I believe her. So I'm successful.
Thank you for that. I love it. Thank you for that. That might be, Nick, that might be the best make it answer we've ever gotten. I'll have to go back and review the annals. I'll have to go back in the bank's time to see. Yeah, but I think
annals now.
Yeah, go back to the annals of the Make It podcast. And what I mean is, to Nick's point, everybody's answer is wonderful because it's what they really feel. But that might have been the best answer for me to hear at a given time.
I consider you guys successful. Like Nick is like,
yeah.
Nick come with it. You know what I'm saying? Like Nick got confidence shooting out his ears.
Yeah, man.
And that says something about him, and it says something about his family, his parents, his ancestry, his community, all sort of stuff. Like, I wouldn't want him to give that up for all the money in the world.
No, he wouldn't.
Like,
he wouldn't anyway.
No, exactly. And I love Kanye, but he's hurting. He lost his mom. He didn't have a great relationship with his dad, and look at him now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on. You think in quiet moments he would be like, I'd trade all this to have my mom back?
Yeah.
I'd trade all this to have a better life.
He would.
Does he even own his masters? Like, there's all this
I was listening to Flashing Lights earlier today, and there's a line in the song, I hate these N-words worse than the Nazis. And I thought that's hilarious. So back on Graduation, the album Graduation, classic album, he hates Nazis. And then just until recently, when he devoured all anti-Semitism, he had just come out with a song called Heil. So it's like, wow, and that's all probably, you're right, spinning out of control, not having mom and dad in your life, guidance, people like that. Because anyway, we'll see what happens. He's got an album coming out later this year, apparently called Bully. So we'll see if that's good or if he addresses any of this stuff. But I do root for him because he did change hip hop in a way that I think only he could. So
I gotta root for everybody that has contributed to the diaspora.
Yep.
And I'm always cheering for any of them to make a comeback as well. I have to, because when I look outside of it, I don't see that much, and I'm not welcomed, and, you can speak to this, Chris, like, Nashville, they ain't trying to have us there. They're not thinking about us. We have to really set a standard there. We have to push our way through and really kind of elbow our way in for them to acknowledge us. It's not a given or a gimme. They're not looking for us.
Yeah.
And so, like, I can't be too worried about them and what they're doing. I'm going to be concerned about the people that have my back. And I look at those communities that value me. And it's not just my own. It's these other communities that have the 10,000-year history as well.
Yeah. Everybody's really cliquey. If I had to say, like, I think it's a little cliquey here in the film community, but I think that's film communities everywhere I've gone.
No, it's not. It's different, man. It's different in that it's beyond cliquey. It's clan clicky, click and clack.
Well, I'll say this from the Nashville Film Festival perspective, just from the Nashville film perspective. Full disclosure, I'm a little biased. I am on the board of the and
that is awesome. And that makes you a trailblazer and a legend, and I love you for that. And I will stand next to you when the shooting starts. I'm with you.
I think it changed. Yeah. I will say it changed a lot. Being around the festival for over a decade now, which really has sort of has a substantial sort of footprint in the community here, film community here, and maybe even down to Georgia and up to Kentucky. But I would say it changed when Jason Padgett came in as the executive director. And I'm not just kissing Jason's ass. It's just that he's from LA. He's from the art world, from the music world. And the guy before that just wasn't. And most people thought that Brian Owens, friend of the podcast, was actually the executive director. A lot of people didn't know it was another person because Brian was running around, sweat dripping on his face, trying to make the festival happen, right? And now he runs SIF up in Canada. So shout out to Brian Owens. So, like, I think Jason's leadership has brought in a lot of changes. So, for example, one huge change: actual film people on the board, A, and then B, a black guy as the president. Okay, and then C, adding additional black people to the board. I think, and people of diverse sort of backgrounds to the board, and backgrounds in creative and legal and fundraising, and versus I think the board before that was just all people from the music industry. And then along with Bob Raines, who runs the Tennessee Film Commission. So shout out to Bob Raines. So I think in that way it's changed. But the other part of it, I think you're kind of spot on, where filmmakers that I know of color aren't able to form their own clique. Basically, they don't have their own clique. They're singular. They stand alone. They're like,
right, and they need to band together the same way the music people there of color are banding and have banded together in the past.
Yep.
You cannot fly solo in Nashville as a content creator and be a person of color. It is foolish.
Yep. There you go. I can't disagree.
That's why I'm talking to you, Chris.
I can't disagree and completely disagree with you. I can disagree maybe in parts, but certainly not.
I just think that you have a certain je ne sais quoi about you when it comes to negotiating with people across the aisle, and I admire it. I respect it. I think it's one of the things that's awesome about you. It was the first thing I noticed about you before I even got a chance to meet you, when I accidentally ran into you at a party at the Nashville Film Festival.
It was me selling
before the gravitational pull started, that we were the only two Negroes in the room.
So there was a blackitational pull.
Yeah, blackitational pull in the party, Nick. And did you hear what he said though? We're the only two Negroes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I heard it.
I love it. I love that. No, we were, and there was a blackitational pull, like you said, Nick, and we've been great friends ever since, and collaborators in a few ways, and just supporters of each other. And I appreciate you hopping on. I know this was a little bit late notice, but the conversation is an all timer. So I hope everyone enjoys it. I hope everyone gets something out of it, and I hope everyone follows you. So to do that, Fred, you got to tell the people where they can find you.
To follow me, I am tomorrowpictures.com is the business website, tomorrowpictures.com. I am Frederick Taylor, and everything me is in the Google machine at Fr3der1ck. You type that in, everything will come up. And I am that same moniker for every platform, whether you're talking about Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, MySpace, all of it. You can find me and see my world, and I consistently put up a lot of media. I also have a really cool platform called tomorrowpictures.tv, which is my junior streaming platform that I hope to build one day and be my own distributor of my own work, and then be a distributor of other people's works. That is why I am attempting to take over Nashville in the content space, because what I want to do is to be able to create a platform out of Nashville that is bringing in a global feel to Nashville with content. And I think with that, you can backdoor your way into the music and give everybody a run for their money. And I think it would be good for them to have some global people chasing them down in Nashville.
Here.
As the city continues to grow as well. So those are the places that you can find me. And of course, you can find me here with you guys
on the
at Make It, which is pretty cool too. And there's a ton of videos of yours with me in them floating around in the zeitgeist that now come up on searches and stuff. Things that I said that I can't take back.
No, you can't unsay them.
No, I cannot.
As much as you might want to right now. You can.
Yeah,
right.
So I definitely do irritate people sometimes. People will leave comments like you're a communist and stuff like that.
So. Thank you so much. So you heard the man. Go find him at Frederick Taylor everywhere. If you Google search social media, Frederick spelled Fr3der1ck, and you can find him at tomorrowpictures.com and Tomorrow Pictures TV. You can find us at _Make It Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and on X. You can find us on Facebook by just searching for the Make It Podcast. And of course, if you're watching this, you're already at YouTube, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share with a friend. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, go ahead and leave us a review, 5-star review. And if you want to write a sentence or two, that'd be great too. It really does help us quite a bit. And so with that, Nick, can you please leave us with the credo?
Of course, Frederick. I appreciate you, dude. Always. It's a pleasure. Great conversation. Like, you never disappoint, my brother. I appreciate you for that. Yeah.
I think the world of you. And I think the world of Chris, and I just think what you are doing and your friendship is magical, and you have turned it into an entrepreneurial endeavor. My grandmother would be proud of both of you because you live free. So stay free.
Stay free.
We appreciate that. And with that, right, I can't help that. Yeah. With that, I will say to our filmmaking friends, fans, family, and followers out there, be better, be creative, be engaged.
And thank you for listening. Nick, Frederick, talk to you soon.
Yep. All right, brother. You guys take care.
Yep.
See you soon.
Yep. All right, fellas.
Bye, guys.
Right.
Be good. Peace.
Yep.
If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.